What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe with No Days Off DFS here to bring you that NBA slate breakdown for the 4-game. We got a small slate today, and a lot of the injury news that we need, you already kind of got it. So definitely excited to break down the slate, look at it. You know, we're going to be over here on DraftKings like we always saw. Site I play the most on the site. If you guys don't have an account, you want one, check the link down in the description box below. And with that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into it. Real quick though, yesterday, interesting slate. The main slate was very, very interesting. Of course, when games are projected to be a blowout, they're not a blowout. They're not. The New Orleans Pelicans, they got something. They finally might have something. If you didn't watch Derek Queen last night, he held his own against the Joker. Of course, the Joker's a Joker. He's gonna do what he want to do. But they might have finally found the piece to go next to Zion. They might have found it. They get DeJounte Murray back. This team might not be DeJounte Murray, and I'm going to say Jordan Poole. I do think Jordan Poole is a good player, especially if you can box him into what he needs to do and be like what he was for the Golden State Warriors when they made their championship run. The Pelicans are not bad. They're really not. That's all I got for that right there. All right, looking at it real quick, injury report for today. We got the Clips taking on Orlando. Looking at them, Orlando still without Paolo. For the Clippers, of course, no Derrick Jones Jr., no Kawhi Leonard. For Philly, taking on Milwaukee. Philly on the back of a back-to-back. For them, Paul George is probable to play. Sat out yesterday in the game versus the Raptors. Joel Embiid, he's questionable to play. If Embiid is in, then of course it's going to move Andre Drummond back to the bench. If Embiid is out, then Drum Dog is going to be in the starting lineup once again. For the Bucks, they are going to be without Giannis. Giannis is going to be missing some time. So right now they have Bobby Portis projected in the starting lineup. I do not believe that that's going to be the case because the last time Giannis missed a game, Bobby Portis did not start. Bobby Portis still seems to be boxed in, playing roughly about 25-ish minutes, but we'll see. We'll see what kind of lineup Philly rolls out, and maybe they might start Bobby, maybe not. Of course, that right there, we just got to pay attention to the news as stuff goes on with that. For Atlanta, taking on the San Antonio Spurs, Kristaps Porzingis, Ricochet, both those guys are questionable once again. They were questionable last time out, and then they both sat. So, if they're going to miss, for Ricochet, they started Vic Krejci. For Kristaps Porzingis, of course, Onyeka Okongwu, he will get the start right there. So just pay attention to that news over there. San Antonio Spurs, they are without Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be missing a little bit of time. He probably won't be back until that weekish or so before Christmas. So hopefully he'll be back for the Christmas Day game. And then Castle, he's going to be out for a bit over there for them. They started Champagny last time out, and I got a little interesting take for that when we get to the Spurs. And then Luke Bumnet. Got the start over here for Victor Wembanyama. Of course, we'll touch on those over there. Sacramento Queens taking on Memphis Grizzlies. Sacramento on the back end of a back-to-back after getting, of course, again, beat by my OKC Thunder. For them, Keegan Murray is expected to make that debut, be out there and play. And Sabonis, he was held out yesterday, I believe, and he should be back tonight to play, going up against a riddled, once again, it seems like every year, at least for the last 2 years, the Memphis Grizzlies are constantly dealing with injuries. And it just sucks because they don't even have any of their backup guys that they normally would use in this situation. But Draw, he's out for them. Small is out. And now you got Jaren Jackson Jr. doubtful to play. So another shakeup over here for the Memphis Grizzlies. Luckily, we kind of know what to expect over there for them since we've kind of seen this before in the past. All right. If you guys new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys continue to support the channel. It's free. You don't have to do anything else. Just hit the subscribe and then just drop a like on the video. It helps your boy out. Definitely with the content and stuff that we do put out over here on the channel. It means a lot. And with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's break this thing down. Before I get into the actual breakdown though, someone commented yesterday, I talk so fast. I naturally talk fast, but I've said this time and time again, especially whenever I get this comment, the YouTube has a setting right there where you can change the speed in regards to how fast I'm talking. You can drop it down to 0.75 if that'll be much slower for what you need, or if I'm talking too slow to you, you can speed it up to 1.25, 150 or whatever. But there's an option right there to go ahead and change that. I can control how fast I talk, but when I'm trying to go ahead and get this videos out, I'm not trying to make it long, super long and stuff like that. I know I do speak a little fast, so definitely just slow it down if you guys do need to slow it down. And if I need to enunciate my words a little bit better for you, I will make sure I try to do that. Clippers taking on Orlando for them, going up against the Paolo Banchero-less Magic. Magic are playing some pretty good ball without Paolo, which we've kind of seen time and time again. James Harden finally above 10K going up against Orlando. He's doing everything right here for this team. Of course, his usage is sky high. He's scoring, he's rebounding, he's assisting. Kind of the same thing like what we saw with Chef Curry. But Harden, he's a better facilitator. We know that he can definitely run, especially in that pick and roll with him, Zubac, and depending on what players he has out there with him, which we've seen Sanders getting a start over there for them, and he looks pretty good. And I would expect for him to be in the starting lineup once again for them. I definitely do not mind James Harden. Could be a spend up that we can get to today. There's two spend ups that I really do think just like top the cake on today's slate, and that. Get it right here. Really looking at him. Tyrese Maxey backing up back to back, but you're going to have Paul George, possibly Joel Embiid. And I just think the price is a little bit too much, especially when it comes down here to a James Harden or Jalen Johnson. Of course, De'Aaron Fox is here as well. All three of these guys definitely just worth it to me in my eyes in regards to playing for them. Fox has a tougher matchup because you will be dealing with that Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker defense. So that really puts James Harden and Jalen Johnson as the main two spend ups that I do want to get to on today. And if there's a way I can fit both of them into my lineup, I definitely am going to try to. Of course, with news as it shakes out, comes out through the day, we might be able to do just that right there. But I do think if you're starting out your lines, just figuring out how to get both of these two studs or figuring out which one of these two studs you want to plant your flag on is going to be the way. But James Harden, the upside is there. The scoring that he has, the matchup, being able to run those pick and roll sets going up against Orlando, one of the spots that you can actually beat them in. I do like everything that Harden can do. Outside of that, Zubac going over here against Wendell Carter Jr. got a pretty decent usage. I don't mind it, 7,400. There are some other value centers we can get to on the slate. We're going to talk about it as we continue to go through it. I definitely don't mind him. John Collins, he's kind of boomer bust right now. He's been he's playing the minutes, he's starting, but we're not seeing the John Collins that we're seeing when he was on the Utah Jazz. Okay matchup. Of course, you're not dealing necessarily with Apollo out there on defense, but France and Tristan da Silva, they're not bad defenders. They've been playing some pretty solid defense, and John Collins, he's there, knocked down some shots. If he can get some rebounds, definitely be some upside over there for him. I already talked about it on Standards. I like it. He's starting, looks like maybe-ish. His floor is about 20-ish, and definitely I can respect that, like the upside that we can get from him, and definitely don't think he will hurt your lineups. He definitely will be a value option that we can get to, and I wouldn't mind just plugging and playing right there. Bogdanovich, we know he's going to play some pretty solid minutes off the bench. Over here, if they magically decide that they want to start him over Chris Dunn or something like that, I definitely wouldn't mind it. Definitely some more upside for him. He can stuff the stat sheets in all categories, and especially if that three ball is falling for him, but he is going up against a tougher team in regards to guarding the 3-point line, but still 4,200 is not a bad price, especially if he was to get the start. I would love the upside for him here in this position and spot. Outside of that, Chris Dunn will be a crapshoot if you want to get over there. For Orlando Magic side of things, really a lot sticks out to me. I'm going to go straight to it. Jalen Suggs and Wendell Carter Jr., both of them, their prices are nice. Jalen Suggs has a pretty good matchup going up against the Clippers, and what we're seeing, his minutes, the usage, all that, it looks really well. Opposing point guard so far going up against the Los Angeles Clippers, Tyrese Maxey just shot 53 on them, Peyton Pritchard 40, Jamal Murray 35 out there, Devin Booker 46 and 48 fantasy points. If Suggs is going to be out there and he has a pretty high usage, of course, with Paulo being out, the scoring, I know he can facilitate, and it's crazy sometimes whenever he has these lower assist games, but I do like the upside for him in this spot. I definitely wouldn't be something I don't mind getting down to, especially at that price tag over there. And then Wendell Carter Jr., again, I'm going to keep on saying it, and I sound like a broken record. He's playing the minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble. He's out there playing 30 minutes, and he's been a really great fantasy point per minute producer when he's out there on the court. I was really surprised that he was lower owned going up against the Golden State Warriors, who struggle against opposing centers. Double pretty simply and easily for him, and then just the upside for him, period. I like it, especially for both of those guys for the price. Tristan da Silva, he's out there, he's starting, as long as he's knocking down those shots, he's giving us some pretty solid upside. I definitely don't mind him if you want to pivot, come off of a Suggs or Wendell Carter Jr., definitely makes sense. And then of course we know Anthony Black, he's going to be out there, he's playing off the bench, he's playing some pretty solid minutes. Whenever Suggs gets himself into foul trouble, or if they decide they want to cap Suggs, or maybe Desmond Bane gets into foul trouble, you will see quite a bit of Anthony Black. He's really playing that 6-man role over here. And 4,800, nice price. I definitely do not mind it at all if you land right there. Desmond Bane, I said it before. I'm not going to end up clicking on the name, but the usage is there. No Paulo. The matchup, it's an okay matchup. We just saw VJ Edgecombe, 32 fantasy points. Derek White, 50 fantasy points. If his shot is falling, if he figures it out from three, he stuffs the stat sheet in all other categories. The defense is really well. Of course, the uptick in his usage, it makes sense to look towards him at a 7,500 price tag. I don't mind it, but I do think I got a pretty solid upside with coming down to Jalen Suggs instead, but I definitely do not mind going out here to Bane. And then France, he's there, of course, taking on the scoring load. I don't mind looking towards France, but I do think that at that price tag, I would rather just find what I need to get up to a Jalen Johnson instead or something like that. Outside of that, really not looking too much. Of course, you can always go to Goga off the bench. We know he's going to play some pretty solid minutes. And of course, if Wendell Carter Jr. gets himself into foul trouble after trying to deal with a Zubac, we could see some more minutes for him over there. Going on over to Atlanta, taking on the San Antonio Spurs. I already talked about it. Really do like the upside for Jalen Johnson, stuffing the stat sheets in all categories over here for them. The scoring, the rebounding, the assisting, all that stuff is there for him. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about him. If Porzingis is out, then of course we can look towards Onyeka Okongwu at that 7,600 price tag. But if he's he's not out, I'm not really going to even touch that for a bench player going to play maybe mid 25, 28 minutes. That's just not a possibility or something for me. I do like Dyson Daniels. This could be one of those spots where we could see a ton of steals or just defensive stats. But then besides that, opposing guards going up against the Spurs, they play very well. Going up against De'Aaron Fox, someone who can turn over the ball, that's why I really do like the upside that we should be able to get from him here in this spot. 7,300 is not a bad price, especially if you can't get up to a Jalen Johnson. Outside of that, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, of course, would be just the next pivot that you can come down to. Like the upside, of course, guards going up against the Spurs, that has been a spot that you can actually go ahead and attack. And then if Vic Krejci is still inside the starting lineup for Ricochet, I know it. He just has to knock down those shots. He is really out there for his three-point prowess that he does have, so I don't mind it, but he would just have to still get the start if Ricochet is out. On the other value guys really that I could get to, you could get to Guy if Porzingis and Ricochet are going to be out, then we should be able to see some more minutes for Guy over here, but if they're in, I'm not going to really be looking towards there. Same thing for Luke Cornett. And then Keaton Wallace, minutes kind of seem to be going down, but definitely would be like the dirt value. Like if you land there, you're down there in the sub 4K range and he's the only one that can fit. Lastly, I wouldn't mind it. Definitely know that he's not going to go out there and get to a 0. And depending on which way this game leans, maybe if they decide to go small, they got Jalen Johnson at the center spot, and you're running out there a 3-guard lineup out there with Dyson Daniels, Keaton, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I can see the upside for Keaton as a boomer bust play, really just that GPP takedown position spot, and I definitely do like the upside for him here. Going on over to the San Antonio Spurs side of things, Luke Bumnet, chalk, and just straight up busted. If you were able to cash with him being in your line, that was just because he was just super high chalk. Got the start, did not shoot. Didn't shoot. This is like the same thing that I see with Evan Mobley on a night-to-night basis, or if I decide I want to play Desmond Bane, they just go out there for whatever reason and don't shoot. I know a lot of people are probably going to be off of Luke Cornett here in their spot. I would just run it back. He's going to get the start, or more than likely will get the start. You could definitely go ahead and take a chance on him once again. I don't mind it. But outside of that, Keldon Johnson off the bench, was kind of surprised that no one was really on him. He's going to be out there playing 25, maybe 30 minutes like what he did last time out, and his usage is pretty good out there. Really solid rebounder. We know he can go out there and score and stuff. The stat sheet, I like the upside. Harrison Barnes, without Wemby being out there, seems like his shot attempts and his usage is going to go up without him. 5,200, pretty solid. It's kind of scary to click on Harrison Barnes' name. I'm not going to lie to you. It is very scary to even click on his name, but I can see the upside. I can see the potential without Wemby being out there. Someone else has to score besides Fox and Vassell and things like that. So I definitely wouldn't mind getting to that to him right there. And then last but not least for me, Julian Champagnie. He's going to get the start. He burned a lot of people. Was high chalk, high chalk. Just really didn't do too much. This is one of those spots where it's like, okay, nobody's going to really click your name. Bounce back potential. That's really what I see right there for him. De'Aaron Fox, 9,300. Again, I would rather just get up to Harden, get up to the Jalen Johnson instead. A solid position in this spot, but I do think he is going to be dealing with that Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker defense, and it should be a tougher time for De'Aaron Fox. That's why I would come down to some of the other guys like the Vassell, the Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Champagnie, and even Shochan off the bench, man. Another one that's kind of surprising. He's in the same boat with Keldon Johnson. No one really wants to click on his name, but he's going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet. At one point in time, he was playing point guard for them before they got Fox and all these other guys over there. And then lastly for me, Kelly Olynyk, if you land down at that 4K range like what I was talking about with Keaton, I wouldn't mind just playing Kelly. We know he's going to play the backup minutes in regards to center, and he was of course the more productive center out there besides Luke Cornett. Sacramento Queens, backing up back-to-back for them. Really, I didn't have too much for them. Going up against a Memphis Grizzlies team that is riddled with injuries. If they're going to start him again, of course, Westbrook, 7,900. Not bad. Played 30 minutes last night. Just need him to make his shots. We know he's going to stuff the stat sheet. I do think he takes a hit with Sabonis. If Sabonis is going to be out there and back. Sabonis is not limited, then I definitely don't mind getting to him as a spend up at the center spot. But if he is going to be limited or something like that, I don't see myself necessarily want to pull the trigger on going right there. Dennis Gordier has found his life going to the bench. And of course, I know he's probably trying to fight to get back into the starting line, taking a ton of shot attempts whenever he's out there on the court. Upside, it's Meek, it's there. You can definitely mess with Dennis if you want to. But not really looking to get too much over here on the Queen side of things, especially when you got Keegan Murray coming back. Sabonis should be out there. It's just too much of a mixing pot over there for them, and they really do need to start offloading a lot of their players. Memphis Grizzlies, with Jaren Jackson Jr. being out, I would imagine we should see Santi Aldama slide into the starting lineup. And Santi already has a pretty solid usage when he was playing off the bench. In the starting lineup, it should be even better for him. We know he can rebound. We know he's going to be able to facilitate, play some pretty solid defense, and he will score. 5,800, pretty nice, cheap position, especially for a starter of his caliber, in a pretty solid spot going up against the Queens over here. And I mean, look at what Chet just did last night. 36 fantasy points, well, 37 fantasy points for him out there. Harrison Barnes the game before, 32. Santi Aldama, he's on par in regards to like a Harrison Barnes or Aaron Gordon. So this should be a pretty, at least 30 would be a floor, I would say, that you can get for Santi Aldama here in the spot. Zach Edey and Court, both of these guys apparently are still on a minutes limit. Edey playing 25 minutes and stuff in the stat sheet. I don't mind it as a mid-tier option at the center spot. Same thing for Court. Yeah, usage is very high when he's out there on court, and this should be a fast-paced game for him. And I do like the upside. I know he can for sure stuff the stat sheet. His rebounding is off the chart, and whenever he actually does facilitate, he has some pretty solid assist numbers. As long as he's just feeling good in the groove, I don't mind him. 6,300. I hope that minute limit can come up to closer to 30. I definitely wouldn't mind pulling the trigger if it's going to be around that for him, especially with no Jaren Jackson Jr. That's more shot attempts to go around for him. Another high usage player that's going to be out, so definitely do like the upside. Vince Williams, long as he's going to be starting at the guard spot, at point guard. I mean, my boy Shea just last night, and of course, limited fashion, 50 fantasy points. De'Aaron Fox game before that, 51. Dante, 39. Vince Williams, not a natural point guard, but has shown the chops, possible triple-double. I definitely do not mind getting to him at that 5,300 price tag. Going on over to it, last game of the slate, Philly taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Philly on the back of a back-to-back, and honestly, unless Joel Embiid is out, I really don't have too much interest just because of the usage. You're going to have Paul George being back out here. First game back, he played 21 minutes. I just think that I don't see myself necessarily trying to play too much over here. Just because PG is back, usage distributing, and then of course then being on the back end of a back-to-back, it just makes everyone over here GPP to me. Nothing that you have to get to necessarily. If you want to play something, of course, go to Quentin Grimes. He wouldn't be bad, 6,100. Barlow, 4,900 if he's going to start. Watford, if he's actually starting, 44. They bench Edwards, put him back off the bench. So really, I don't have too much that I want to get to over here for Philly. And then the Milwaukee Bucks. Rollins, he just has to pay off this price tag. We've seen him before without Giannis being out there. The usage is pretty high, and I don't mind looking at him at the 7,500 price tag. Kyle Kuzma, you guys know how I feel about Kyle Kuzma. If you end up landing on Kuz, don't beat yourself up if he looks like shit. Miles Turner, though, I do have a lot of interest in him. 6,700 going up against Philly with Embiid, without Embiid. If it's Drummond, whatever. Stretch big in Miles Turner. More shot attempts. He should. Last game, Giannis sat 36.8 fantasy points. If Turner's out there just doing what he was able to do, got the touch, got the rhythm, got the flow, I don't mind him at the 6,700 price tag. It makes sense. And then, of course, we're going to have to come down here and look at players like AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr. All these guys are going to be in contention. Bobby Portis, 6,500, but if he's not starting, I don't see myself necessarily having to play Bobby. I just don't. But definitely, of course, going to have to be in your player pool because there is no Giannis. And maybe they decide they do want to slide him into the starting line, depending on how big Philly decides they want to roll. Outside of that, Cole Anthony, Jericho Sims, those be the other two guys that we want to look to. Cole Anthony off the bench, pretty solid usage, of course, especially with no Giannis being out there, and he definitely could stuff the stat sheet himself. And then Jericho Sims, no Giannis, he is going to have to see a couple more minutes, especially because the big rotation is going to be just that much shorter over there for them. All right, if I was building out a dummy line over here, of course, going straight to the value, we're going to play Cope Sanders, 4K. That just makes sense to me for him. And then the same thing for Vince Williams. If he's going to be starting at the point guard spot, I don't see any reason not to go ahead and go straight over and get to him. And then the other one that I also want to get from over there is going to be Santi Aldama, especially if he does get started. Even if he doesn't, I still think it's pretty solid for Santi just because he has a very high usage. But I imagine they should be starting him because, of course, no JJJ. And then I already talked about it. You can't go wrong with either Jalen Johnson or James Harden as either one of your studs. You can plug both of those in, or you can go ahead and try plugging both of them into this lineup right here and seeing what value actually shakes out for you and how you like it in regards to building out to finish out the rest of your line. But Santi, I really do like his upside. Vince Williams, I just think it's pretty solid, especially starting at the point guard spot. And then, I mean, shoot, his defensive upside as well, the length that he should be able to have. We know Russ can turn the ball over. Same thing for Dennis Schroeder. The upside should be there for both these guys. Honestly, have a good day. And then Sanders just makes sense to me. I'm going to just go ahead and take probably my guaranteed 20 over there for him being inside of the line. That's going to do it for me, guys. 4-game slate. Don't go too crazy. We got NFL on tonight. I think it's the Chicago Bears or something like that playing somebody. Good luck. Take it easy. 4 games. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't done so already. Peace.